Hello, I am Tarık Toros. Welcome to What's Happening in Turkey. Erdogan's Night of the Long Knives. Inside his harshest power struggle yet. Right now, Turkey is witnessing the toughest internal shutdown of the 23-year Erdogan era. A power struggle within the ruling Justice and Development Party itself. Over the past 3 months, prominent business tycoons long aligned with the government have been arrested one after another, and major conglomerates have been seized by court-appointed trustees. The number of firms now managed by the State Saving Deposit Insurance Fund, a body operating under the Turkish Wealth Fund, with President Erdogan as its ultimate authority, has surpassed 1,100, representing total assets of over $12 billion. Each morning brings news of yet another police operation. The most recently arrested is a former deputy governor of the central bank, the very man whose signature appears on Turkish lira banknotes. And here's the twist. This time, the targets are not opposition figures or dissidents. They are individuals who once stood at Erdogan's side. This wave of arrests has therefore shaken Turkey's business elite to its core. Let's dive in. Inside the panic after Trump's over-the-top praise for Erdogan. Last month, US President Donald Trump hosted Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan at the White House. Erdogan had also joined regional leaders in signing the Gaza Declaration at a summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Trump's effusive praise for Erdogan, both in the Oval Office and at the peace table for Gaza, was received with unease in Ankara, especially within Erdogan's own AKP ranks. Behind closed doors, many insiders believe that the real beneficiary of the process is Israel. According to senior AKP figures, Erdogan's increasingly visible fatigue as a leader was temporarily offset by the international attention from this visit, offering a brief boost to his domestic legitimacy. Yet beyond symbolic gains, they concede that Turkey achieved nothing tangible. The broader concern within the AKP is that Washington has effectively become a new center of accreditation, meaning every major diplomatic move now seems to require US approval. Insiders quietly admit that the Gaza deal, and Ankara's supposed role in it, are being used as a political distraction, a convenient cover for Turkey's deepening economic and political crisis. The public has no idea what Turkey actually signed. State-aligned media in Turkey have portrayed the Gaza agreement as a diplomatic triumph, but in reality, its contents remain undisclosed. Turkish citizens still do not know what clauses their government actually signed. Speaking later in the Israeli parliament, President Trump declared that the world is loving Israel again. He then urged Israel's president to pardon Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who faces corruption charges, and even praised Israel's opposition leader, hints of a possible political reshuffle in Jerusalem. Hidden between the lines of the Gaza deal lies a crucial point: the normalization of Israel's relations with regional neighbors. This clause, barely discussed in Turkey, directly references the 2020 Abraham Accords, which could eventually pave the way for renewed military pressure on Iran. Meanwhile, Turkish media fixated on one rumor, that Netanyahu had been invited to the signing ceremony. After Erdogan reportedly heard this, stories spread claiming his plane skipped the runway while landing in Sharm el-Sheikh. While it's true the plane performed a go-around, aviation officials confirmed it was for technical reasons, not politics. In any case, Netanyahu's attendance was never planned, and several regional leaders, including Erdogan, were strongly opposed to his presence. A snapshot of the regime: one death, one arrest. This year's Nobel Peace Prize sparked heated international debate after being awarded to a Venezuelan opposition leader, who dedicated the prize to Donald Trump. Reports that Venezuela's opposition had proposed a petrol for freedom deal, trading oil for U.S. backing to unseat their regime, reignited global discussions about democracy and legitimacy. In Turkey, the fallout took a darker turn. Academic Emrah Gülsınar was arrested after posting a poll on X, asking, "Is it legitimate to seek foreign help to overthrow a dictatorial regime?" He had clearly specified that he was referring to Venezuela. Yet Turkish authorities interpreted the question as a veiled reference to Erdogan's government and treated it as an incitement to topple the regime. Gülsınar was swiftly jailed. Around the same time, Turkey was shaken by another tragedy. Hakan Tosun, an environmental activist and documentary filmmaker, was beaten to death by unidentified assailants while walking home in Istanbul. His family was only informed 27 hours later that he had died in hospital. Despite clear CCTV evidence, police were slow to make arrests, and there were even claims that the attackers' families had links to local authorities. Following public outrage, the government announced the appointment of 2 inspectors to oversee the investigation. But in today's Turkey, public trust in law enforcement and the judiciary has all but collapsed. Arrest warrant for the man who introduced Erdogan to the world. One of the week's most striking developments was an arrest warrant issued for Cüneyt Zabzu, a founding member of the ruling AKP and a key architect of Erdogan's early international image. Just a month ago, prosecutors opened a money laundering investigation into 2 major business groups close to the government. As the probe widened, Zabzu's name was added to the case file. Prosecutors issued a warrant, though reports suggest Zabzu reached out to senior officials and eventually managed to appear as a witness instead of a suspect. Zabzu was instrumental in introducing Erdogan to Western political and business circles, shaping his image as a conservative Democrat, a label that helped him gain international legitimacy during the 2000s. That's why this arrest order carries symbolic weight. It signals that Erdogan's sense of loyalty, even toward those who built his rise, may have finally run its course. Hakan Fidan among the targets in latest detention wave. Another round of arrests has rocked Turkey, this time involving Cihan Ekşioğlu, a businessman known for his ownership of the luxury Paramount Hotel in Bodrum and investments in the defense sector. Unlike previous raids, this one reaches deep into Turkey's security establishment. Ekşioğlu reportedly purchased surveillance software from Israel for $3 million, then resold it to the National Intelligence Organization for $50 million. Allegations suggest that former intelligence chief and current foreign minister Hakan Fidan and his son may have personally benefited from the deal. If proven, these claims could have far-reaching implications. Fidan is widely viewed as one of the leading contenders to succeed Erdogan in a post-Erdogan era. The investigation, therefore, is not merely about corruption. It could reshape the internal power hierarchy of the AKP and redefine Turkey's succession politics. Turkey, a country of daily operations. Turkey has effectively become a country of daily police operations. And for the first time, it's not only opposition members being targeted, but also figures once loyal to Erdogan. The latest example comes from the Interbank Card Center investigation, in which 7 people were arrested, including Emrah Şener, a former deputy governor of the central bank whose signature still appears on Turkish lira notes, giving this operation powerful symbolic resonance. Today, many Turks start their mornings with the same anxious question: what operation will we wake up to today? This week could bring yet another shock. The final hearing on the internal power dispute within Turkey's main opposition party, the Republican People's Party, If the court annuls the latest party congress, its current leadership could be dismissed and trustees appointed, effectively reversing the results of the last democratic election within the opposition. Such relentless political turmoil has shaken not only domestic confidence, but also international trust in Turkey. Financial markets are jittery, diplomats increasingly cautious, and global observers are watching with alarm as each new operation exposes the regime's growing internal fractures. I am Tarık Toros. You've been watching What's Happening in Turkey. See you next week.